From the Grand Park Athletic Complex in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, it's Championship Sunday for the young men of Travel Ball Select, where today it's the 11U classification taking center stage to begin our all-day coverage here on the Travel Ball Select Facebook page. The 11U National Championship. It's Keene South from South Carolina and the SBA Bolts National from North Carolina in the 11U 2023 Travel Ball Select National Championships. And hello again, everybody. Thanks for joining us back here on the .com. Back once again with a play-by-play story from the Fan, 680, 93.7 FM in Atlanta. I'm your play-by-play man, Chris Mooneyham. A pleasure and honor and a joy to be back on the broadcast for the National Championships yet again this year. The Grand Park Athletic Complex here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, hosting the National Championships for the first time, and what a doozy it has been this week inside of the 11U classification. This age range has provided perhaps the greatest drama throughout the week. And this has also provided this classification what we like to call sometimes the blow-up bracket. We know we're going to get one just about every year where one bracket gets absolutely just blown to pieces in the first or second round of play. And that's what we had here this week. In fact, we've got the number one team after pool play into the championship, Keene South of South Carolina. But they're taking on a number 8 seed after pool play in the SBA Bolts National out of North Carolina, who made their way through the winner's bracket undefeated, as a matter of fact. So a lot to get into as we dive into game one of our guaranteed 4 games of championship coverage here on Travel Ball Select's Facebook page. We'll have each of the classifications, save the 13U classification, national championship games. Of course, if some of these second games are needed to decide the championships, they'll have to move over to another field. We'll get into all that as we make our way through the morning, into the afternoon, and evening here today. Keene South going to be the visiting team for this ball game as they came out of the elimination bracket. Raylan Hunter, the center fielder, Asher Humphreys, the left fielder, and Walker McCrory, the center fielder, going to lead things off. Your guaranteed 3 for Andy King and Keene South of South Carolina.
Play matters. Pool play matters, and coaches have to be strategic on how they use their pitching and so forth and so on. But SBA's looks like they've done a good job to get to this point here.
Good battle here between Hunter and Romano, who kicks and fires. This one popped up into right. Moving back, making the call and the catch for out number 1. So Hunter retired on an F9. The Bolts won that opening round matchup versus this very same Keene squad by a final of 9-3. That was just the beginning of the wild nature of bracketed play where, as I mentioned, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all knocked out in the opening round. So in other words, numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8 all advanced into second round play. Asher Humphreys, the left fielder, with 1 man out.
Yeah, and that speaks to the level of competition we got here in South Carolina. You know, the teams are on any given day can beat one another, and it's who gets hot at the right time.
Little nubber, back to Romano, takes his time and retires Humphreys. 1-3 put out, 2 men gone quickly here, top half of the first inning. Next up, it was a 5-8 matchup. Defeated Alabama's Gulf Coast Edge by an 11-1 final. And then a third blowout followed. 11-3 the final over Barnes Academy Cutters out of Louisiana. I'm sorry, Louisiana. Right. Shot foul. McCrory, yeah. Walker McCrory, the catcher.
We kind of learned that pronunciation is important when we were in Louisville last year.
Louisville, right. Well, it's like when you go to Nevada, yeah. Which I learned in a painful way. No, not really. I'm at the convenience store in Lake Tahoe with my...
Beautiful place.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Love Lake Tahoe. That was the weekend I got engaged to my wife. We're at the store. I was buying an adult beverage, pulled out my wallet, my ID, dropped it on the counter. She said, "Oh, you're from Georgia." I said, "Yeah." She said, "Your first time here?" I said, "Yeah, first time in Nevada. I love it." She stops what she's doing. She puts her hands on the counter and leans in and looks me dead in the eyes and says, "It's pronounced Nevada." And just pauses and stares at me, Rick. I'm not kidding you. One hopper at short. Tough play here. Good speed. Got him. And that'll retire the side. 1, 2, 3 go the Canes here in the top half of the first inning. We'll get our first look at the plate The SBA Bolts National from North Carolina, led by head coach Travis Thompson. This 11U classification. Again, 3-0 inside of bracketed play. The Bolts finished pool play at 2-2. Outscored their opponents 32-27 overall on the ledger. Of course, some of that is skewed when you see it on the website because we cap the runs at a certain point. More on that later. 3-0 in bracketed play, but again, as I mentioned, Rick, they've hammered people in bracketed play, 31-7, the margin.
Yeah, these boys can swing the bat. They're not afraid to be aggressive. That's one of the things that I know the coaches talked to them about. I was walking by their dugout the other day, and I heard them reference that exact point, is be aggressive. We don't want to fall behind in the count 0-2, 1-2. And we've talked about this in the past, about how the batting averages are consistently and drastically much lower when you fall behind in the count. So they preach they want to attack the ball early. So look for that today as these kids, I suspect that they're not going to get into that hole. They're going to jump early.
Well, they've outscored opponents, as I mentioned, 31-7 in bracketed play, perfect 3-0. So that'll put them overall at 5-2 on the week. 5-2 on the week. 63-34 they've outscored their opponents overall. Max Stevenson, Garrick Hargett, and Oliver Bowden. You're guaranteed 3 in this bottom half of the first inning. We're scheduled for 6. The Grand Park Athletic Complex in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The first edition of the championships on the Grand Strand. It's been a grand week.
I see what you did there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you pay me for.
That don't go unnoticed. That don't go unnoticed. But, yeah, I mean, this is our first year. This is our first year in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And it has been a huge, huge hit with all the teams and all the families. There is not a shortage of things to do here in Myrtle Beach, and the families really appreciated that. I've heard it from numerous people this week about how they are so thrilled with the change to this venue and this complex.
Families and adults alike.
Yes.
Henry Perry, big right-hander, fires a strike to start Mac Stevenson.
Nice, big, tall right-hander, long and lean, gets a huge stride here. And when you're pitching from 50 feet and somebody that tall, that ball gets on you pretty quick.
2 fastballs to start, as a matter of fact. Make it 3, back into the screen.
I got a feeling he's going to come out here and try to set the tone early. He's going to keep throwing fastballs until they prove that they can hit them.
Mentioned that the Canes came through the elimination bracket. That was a bit of a surprise after pool play. The South Carolinians 4-0 and outscored their opponents 41-10 in pool play. Chopper over the head of Perry. Stopped by the second baseman, but only kept on the infield as Stevenson will reach on an infield single.
You know, this is a classic example right here of just putting the bat on the ball. The guy's not trying to do too much here. He's just looking to put the ball in place somewhere, make things happen. He gets a nice bounce off the turf over the pitcher's head up the middle, makes it a very difficult play for the second baseman. And great job by the leadoff hitter doing his job.
Yeah, you make contact, too, if you're Stevenson. He's got fantastic speed, that young man does. So force a fielder to make a play.
Make things happen, exactly.
So
you notice he didn't swing. He didn't overswing on that. Just stuck the bat out there. Make it happen.
Right. So I'm always telling my young players, make them make a play. Garrick Hargett here. Canes lost their opener in bracketed play, and they've won 4 straight since. So 4-1 in bracketed play. Outscored their opponents 38-18. That ball gets away. To the backstop and advancing is Stevenson down to second. He's in scoring position with nobody out.
Yeah, that's going to have to be scored as a pass ball there. The catcher was trying to keep his glove inside, maybe try to frame that pitch for a strike. But that's just a youthfulness right there. Sometimes just take the ball and move on and try not to frame every single pitch.
So the Canes 8-1 overall, 79-28. You heard me right. They've outscored their opponents by nearly 50, plus 50 runs, I beg your pardon. So far this week, 79-28. Coming off a 10-0 win just this morning over on Field 6 in a 1-7 matchup. Well, they won that on the mercy rule in 4 innings. That one just off the inside corner. 1-10-0, 3-2 count. To get themselves into this title game. Walked him. Or, of course, as Canes hopes, they hope this will be the first of 2 championship games. They'll need 2 wins.
Yeah, this double elimination format, it rewards the teams that go through without losing, and it makes it really tough for the teams coming up from the bottom. But traditionally, we've seen it, Chris. You've been with me a number of years. You've seen the team come out of this loser's bracket to win, too, so it's not impossible.
Oh, chopper down to third. Great play. Step on the bag. Fire across the diamond. In time for the double play. 5 unassisted, then over to first. It's a 5-3 double play.
What a great play by this young man. This goes back to where we talk about putting the ball in play and, to make them make the play. And the young man at third base did make an outstanding play. As you can clearly see right there, he's going to be out.
Well, now we're having our first conversation about replay challenges.
Okay,
walk us through it.
This is what's going on. Each team is required or allowed to have 2 challenges per game, win or lose. They're allowed to call or challenge 2 calls during the game. And it looks like Coach Thompson of SBA is going to challenge to see the play at first base, what is going on with that. So the umpires will come back here. They will take a look at the play, and then they will make a determination on what they see here on the replays.
Of course, as you noted, we believe we know the answer, but we'll get another look at it here. Umpires perched over our shoulders. We'll run this replay through here a little quicker. Bear with us, we're getting it racked up here.
Oh, here we go.
Great unassisted getting the first out at third, and then the throw across the diamond for the second out. A heck of a play by Judson Willard.
This goes back to what we talked about at the top of the first. Put the ball in play, make them make plays.
Yep.
And that young man definitely made a play right there.
Sure did.
Tremendous stop by him. The composure to tag the bag and strong throw across the diamond to get the Bolts player by a half a step.
Big play here early, too. I love the challenge.
Yeah, you want to try to keep that momentum with 1 out. I mean, the game changes now because now you got a runner at second with 2 outs. If you got first and second with 1 out, a lot of dynamics can happen. So I think it was a worthy challenge by Coach Thompson there. Didn't get the result that he wanted, but it was worth it.
Here's his young man at the plate, by the way, Bowden Thompson. Bo, left-handed hitter.
As a pitcher, when your defense makes a play for you like that behind you, it energizes you. You get a little boost of adrenaline, and you saw it on that last fastball. Had a little giddy up there.
Time called by Thompson at the plate. Right on the line. Hugging the plate. Runner breaking for the third base bag. A great throw. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, boy. Boy, I thought he got underneath the tag.
Well, Coach Thompson was there right on top of it as well. He must be agreeing with the call. It looked like he got a swim move in there.
Yeah, it did.
And he got around it, but Coach Thompson's not willing to maybe use his second challenge this early in the game.
Oh, boy. Not just a game of inches, but a game of decisions and tactics as well. That young man at third base should have been safe. As it goes, Thompson will be at the plate when we make our way to the bottom half of the second.
Boy, I
Don't
tell you
think
what,
so?
I don't know. That's definitely close. It was a close play.
One
for
more
sure.
look. Let's see if we can get
We'll
one
take
more look.
One more look. But here for the championship game, we've instilled 3 umpires, which means an umpire is right on top of this play, as you can see as he comes into the frame.
Well, That is close.
Yeah,
Just not sure that he got his blouse.
Well, we can't see right there. Maybe he got him on the elbow or the elbow area there.
Well, no, I could see that when he was coming in
Yeah.
because of our angle. The only way he would have tagged him would have been right here in the midsection. But either way.
Yeah, I got to believe maybe Coach Thompson didn't want to use challenge number 2 this early in the game.
Absolutely right.
You know, it's first inning. Let's tuck that in our bag maybe for later and live to fight another day. Because they only get 2 regardless of whether they're successful or unsuccessful. It's only 2.
It's only 2. Sam Moore, the shortstop, Sawyer Bowman, the second baseman, and J.J. Nixon, the scheduled 3 here in the top half of the second inning. No score so far.
You know, the one thing about that play, Chris, is if you go to your Little League parks around the country, probably 9 times out of 10 or even 99 times out of 100, that runner's going to be safe at third. But here at the TBS Nationals, these catchers are outstanding.
Yeah.
They're outstanding receivers, and they put the throw right on the money right there at third base. Man, that is an outstanding job by the young man.
Swing and a miss. Sam Moore, the cleanup hitter, in the lineup. First man this inning. Ryder Romano's second inning of work. From a little off speed there.
Yeah, a little wrinkle there. Left it up in the zone a little bit,
right.
And that's not where you want to leave those pitches. You want them to get some hard bite down in the backside. You leave those up like that, they usually end up in a gap somewhere.
Why I couldn't tell if it was a breaking ball or a change. Outside.
Let's see if the Canes can ride that momentum from the first inning. 2 tremendous plays, the double play and the throw out at third base. Usually those types of things energize the team when they come up in the top half of the inning.
Fastball rides in on the hands. Canes played in a good pool. Quality, of course, every pool here has quality teams. That goes without saying, yeah. That one to left. Well struck. Back on it, the left fielder, and it's out of here. Canes strike first. Sam Moore draws first blood. 1-0 for the men from the Palmetto State.
Yeah, that's exactly what we talked about. The hanging curveball, 2-2 pitch. Sets him up. He did a nice job of setting him up with that high inside fastball, but he just didn't get the bite on the curveball there. And it's up in the zone, and he rides it out of here.
Nice tight little swing there.
He sets back on the curveball, keeps his weight distributed, and drives it out of here. The fences out here for the 11-year-olds are 250.
Strike from Romano to start. Sawyer Bowman. Canes, the number 12 team in the national rankings entering this week. As I mentioned, finished 4-0. Louisiana Power Elite was in their pool during the week. Dirtbags Black from North Carolina lined into center field. That one down for a base hit.
Yeah, you mentioned our national rankings. The SBA Bolts are number 6 and the Canes are number 12. So 2 very well-deserving teams to be in this game. They've done a great job getting here. Let's see how the pitcher for the Bolts responds. He just gave up a home run to give up the lead. And that's huge for the Canes to get out to that early lead.
J.J. Nixon. Well, you just look at my Atlanta Braves, whom I cover in Atlanta. I love it because they're winning. But when they struggle, the strikeouts just pile up. It's just amazing. Nixon takes.
They gave him one attempt to get him over. Now it seems like they're going to let him swing away, but sometimes the coach changes it up here.
Well, it's a distinct advantage, too, at this age range, this classification, to have a young man who can really drop one down consistently as well. That one stays low. Throw down to second with the runner moving, and he's in safely. Because that's becoming a lost art. Even as a lot of these kids have become far more talented with the bat as the years have moved along in the youth range, at the same time, the art of bunting has been lost, of course, as we mentioned.
A lost art everywhere. Even at the youth game, it's still done. If you can find somebody that can do it, it's like finding a diamond in the rough.
Right. he does it again. At third, up, and they will say he got him.
What a great job by the young man. Gets the barrel head out in front of the plate. And for those of you watching, that is a key to getting down a successful sacrifice bunt, is get that barrel head out in front of the plate. That way anything that goes straight down into fair territory. It doesn't roll foul. Too often you see young players holding that back behind home plate, and you end up with a lot of foul balls that way.
So now Aiden Baez with an RBI opportunity. A fly ball away from potentially doing just that.
Now we got a runner at third base, less than 2 outs. There's so many ways this young man can score right here. Looks like they're bringing the infield in here. They're going to try to cut this run down in the second inning.
And this is part of the reason. Again, I don't want to sound like old man shouting at cloud, but hang on a second and get off my lawn. This is why you got to continue to preach contact to the young men as opposed to just launching one out, because contact is king here.
Well, I got to believe that the Canes are looking to score. So I with 1 out, the young man at third is probably going to be going on contact.
Yep.
Even if the ball's right at a fielder, he's got to play on. He's going to go on contact.
Oh.
A little low. That was close.
Yes, indeed.
That's a
gorgeous pitch.
Gorgeous. He's trying to get that ground ball. Throw that ball low in his zone to try to induce that ground ball. Great job.
Romano Diaz. Line into left field. It'll get down for a base hit and make it 2-0 Canes.
Well, there's the disadvantage to bringing the infield in. If he's playing normal depth right there, that's a line drive to the third baseman. But you can't. You roll the dice, and that's what happens sometimes.
So an RBI single for Aiden Baez. Sawyer Bowman scores the run. We'll have ourselves a meeting at the mound here in a 2-0 affair.
The one thing you want to do in a championship game like this when it's double elimination is you don't want to give the team coming out of the loser's bracket, you don't want to give them hope. You want to take that away from them as early and as possible as you can, because then that carries the old momentum, right? When they get up there and they do that type of thing and they get this lead, that momentum not only carries over for this game, but also goes to the if game when they have to play again. So you want to try to take that away from the Canes right here.
And, of course, momentum, for those of you that don't watch a ton or have never seen youth baseball, as you climb the ladder of competition, momentum means less and less. Here at this age means so much, especially with all this talent out here. The 11U classification momentum is a real, tangible, palpable thing.
And I would argue, Chris, that momentum is even a big thing up until the college level. The College World Series is a great example of all of that. The momentum that they carry in those types of games is huge. Major League Baseball is a little different. They play in 162 games, right? It's just another day, another game. But for these young men, it's totally different. It's really magnified.
Henry Perry at the plate now. Pitcher for Canes South. A chance to add to his already 2-0 lead.
Help himself, right? He's got a chance to help himself.
Ground ball at short. Get the flip. There's the turn. Not in time. 6-4 on the force. Perry at first with 2 men out.
Yeah, I think he might have had a chance to take this himself. He might have had more success, but he chose to do the flip, which takes a little bit more time, and the long legs of the young man gets him down the line. Oh, yeah, most definitely. He should have took this one himself. And actually, I think that's what the coaches are telling him right now. They're asking him why he chose to go that route instead of taking.
Third base bag defensively in the bottom of the first. It's a big run down there, Rick. Big difference. You know this as well as anybody. I preach this all the time, not just in broadcasting, but in coaching as well. Massive statistical difference, even early in a ball game, between a 2-run deficit and a 3-run deficit.
Oh, without a doubt.
Riding high. Ground ball up the middle, headed into center field for a base hit. Here comes Earl. Here comes the throw. It's a one-hopper and late. Earl will score to make it 3-0.
Yeah, the young man in center field probably took maybe a step or two to get rid of this ball, and that cost him at the throw of the plate. You'll see right here, fields it well, but he takes 2 or 3 steps instead of just a traditional crow hop, and that's what makes the throw be late to home plate.
Back to the top of the order now, and Raylan Hunter with a runner breaking. And in at second.
Now we're right back to the same situation. Runner at second, 2 outs, a base hit. He's going to be going on contact.
7th batter of the inning. Started the affair, this frame I mean. Solo home run, Sam Moore to start it. Bowman a single, would steal a base. That one will drop in. Boy, that ball really took off on the center fielder. Drops in the gap in left center field. It's an RBI double.
The inside out swing causes the ball to tail over towards left center. And the center fielder, I don't know if he was going full speed on that, thinking the ball was going to get to him, but it just kept tailing away from him from that inside out swing from the lefty and up against the fence for a run scoring double.
Willard scores, 4 runs across in the frame now. It's becoming a bit of a dangerous situation now for the North Carolinians. Here's Asher Humphreys. Kid who's got some thunder in his stick. Righty-lefty matchup. Another man in scoring position for what would be the 4th consecutive, make sure I've got that right, yeah, 4th consecutive batter. Lined over the second baseman, into right center. That one going to carry all the way to the wall. 5 in the frame. Canes building on their lead. Could it be an RBI triple? Yes, sir.
Well, I tell you right here, this is an example of the turf. When we start playing games on these turf fields, when that ball hits out there, it skips. And the right fielder
gone.
Right, the right fielder didn't take the right angle there and basically turned a triple or double into a triple. But testament to the young man on third. He hit that ball pretty hard, and it had some speed to it. And when it hit the turf, it just picked up speed. And the bad angle by the right fielder causes it to be a triple.
Everyone to the plate in the second. Little pop into right. McCrory retired in an F9, and that will end the frame. But 6 hits in the inning, 5 runs come across, 3 extra base hits, including a solo home run from Sam Moore, who started the frame, and he'll lead off the top half of the third as well. SBA Bolts National from North Carolina coming to the plate, now trailing 5-0.